Everyone has a story today. Everyone thinks their story is unique.
But you need to condense that story down into one-liner. One line really matters because when you're messaging someone for the first time, they really don't care who you are. They don't care about what you're writing about. So their attention needs to be piqued immediately. Basically, come up with every name or number that might be impressive about their startup or their background and condense it into one line. So for example, if I introduce myself to someone, I'll say, "Hi, Harry. I led growth at Duolingo from 3 to 200 million users before working Mike Bloomberg presidential campaign, and co-authored a neuroscience study." Like, I don't know if that's what I would do, but like, these are 3 moments and 3 signifiers that Harry would say, I don't know who Gina is and what she did, but she just said 3 things that make me think this is important and I should pay attention. So you need to find those signifiers. And if you don't have them yet, it's okay. You can find proxies. Like, for example, I went to this university, or so-and-so has used my product, or I have money from this angel investor. So you need to find the things that are going to matter to a journalist. What we did with Duolingo and with Tumblr, but especially with Duolingo over and over again, was just that. So for example, I would have Luis Fanon fly to a country, and then I would make sure to schedule a talk, not just in one place that had like a major name, like for example, a top university, but 2. And so it would be normally like a top university in that country and then a top tech conference. And I would try to make it so that it all happened within 1 week or 10 days max. Then I would reach out to journalists on Twitter or on LinkedIn. I would have this one-liner, and then I would say, Luis has been invited by, and then I would use the 2 things that they would go, wow, this matters. Like, imagine, Harry, you've never heard of Harry Stebbings, but he was just invited by Harvard and TechCrunch to speak at blah, blah, blah. And, he has no time. So I'd create a scarcity. He has no time right now, like he's super important, even though no one's heard of this. If you would like, 10 minutes to speak with him, I could potentially make that happen. You generate scarcity and you generate those levers and points of significance, even when you don't have them, by thinking what matters to people. So for example, in Colombia, we did that with the Colombian government. I worked with the Colombian government, the MINTIC, which is the Ministry of Technology there, to get Duolingo into public schools. You would think, wow, Gina, that's amazing. You got Duolingo to public schools. You got the whole population. No, it actually worked really badly. Actually, the MINTIC in Colombia was probably the better one of the governments. I don't want to say anything bad about them, but other governments in general are very slow and they are unable to make these things happen at the rate that a startup requires for it to be considered a success, which means that they weren't able to get Duolingo into schools, or even if they did, people weren't using Duolingo. Teachers were afraid of using Duolingo, and then the rate of people using Duolingo in classes were super low. None of that mattered because we could use that for PR. Because now I could reach out to journalists and say, Duolingo is officially being used alongside the Ministry of Technology or the Ministry of Education of your country in public schools. And I have proof because as part of my little contract, I said they had to have a little landing page where they put the Duolingo logo on it. So then I could like hyperlink so the journalist could go and see, wow, it's true. The Duolingo logo is on the government website. And suddenly now the journalist thinks Duolingo is really important and really matters. The government is putting their name behind it. So even though this partnership isn't really going anywhere and it's not quite working, I have now signaled to the journalist that they should know about something and they don't, and they need to catch up.